Hi friends, it's Cindy from Greetings and Memories, here to show you how to make this cute card featuring our lovely You stamp set. Now, if you are one of the folks joining me for World Card Making Day, you would have received this supply kit in the mail. You would have some of our Stampin' Dimensionals there. And then inside this kit, you'll find your medium Whisper White envelope that we'll set aside for the time being. You have a card base done in Blackberry Bliss. You have a Granny Apple Green layer. You have two pieces of Whisper White. One of those is going to go on the front, and then one of them will go on the inside of the card because we have such dark cardstock, you're not able to really write directly on that. So we'll add that on the inside. You have a couple of labels that I pre-punched for you with the lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch that coordinates as part of the bundle with the lovely You stamp set. And so we have the 1-inch label in Blackberry Bliss and the 3/4 inch label in Whisper White. And then you also should have this little packet with 5 of the self-adhesive rhinestones. We're going to use 3 of them on this card, and then we'll save the other ones for the next card that we're going to do on World Card Making Day. So, to start us off, we're going to start stamping on one of those Whisper White pieces. And like I said, they're both cut exactly the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you use. And what I'm going to do here, I'm using my grid paper to kind of help me see. I want a line about 2 inches from the bottom of that piece of white, and that's where I'm going to orient my stamping from that line. Like I said, about 2 inches from the bottom. So you know what, just to make it easier, I am going to go ahead and mark on my grid paper here, just to help me with that spacing. We're going to start off stamping with some Granny Apple Green ink. Open that one up. And I'm going to first stamp with this image of the 3 leaves. And I'm using a smaller size B block for this project. You can certainly use a larger block if that's what you have available to you. Ink that up, and I'm going to stamp this 3 times like you see on my example here. I'm going to keep, like I say, pointing the stems towards that 2-inch mark. So I'm going to do one pointing up, re-ink that, do another one pointing down, and then I'm going to do one over here with this stem like pretty much at that 2-inch mark, and do a third one. And then I'll clean this off with my Stampin' Chamois. I'll put that stamp away. And then I'm going to choose this one that's kind of more of a fern lacy. I don't know what you would call that image exactly, and you know what? I do need the larger block for that one. So go ahead and pop that on my size D block. And what we're going to do with this one, because we want a lighter tone of the Granny Apple Green, we're going to stamp off on that grid paper first, and then go in here and stamp on our card. So we'll do that a couple more times. Stamp off first, then go in here. And we're just pointing all of those stems towards that 2-inch line because we're going to cover those up with our sentiment later. Stamp off and then throw some in right here. And then we'll clean this stamp and put it away. And we're done with our Granny Apple Green, so we'll close that up. And switch over to our Blackberry Bliss ink for our flowers and our sentiment. And I'm going to go ahead and use the smaller block again for the flower. Oops. And I had a little bit of ink on my finger and transferred it onto the stamp, so we'll get rid of that. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I stamp these Blackberry Bliss flowers so that they will be showing once I put that label on. So just to kind of help me make sure, I'm going to put that label there so I can see. And so I'll go ahead and put a flower here. Return that a little bit and put a flower in that spot. And then I want to put a flower down here. And you can see I didn't do that exactly the same as I did on the other example. But you just want to kind of space those things out. And now I'm going to choose one of the greetings from my set. And you can see there are several to choose from. So I have cut this white label so that any of these will fit. You can choose whichever one you like. And I'll go with the Wildly Grateful one this time since I did something different on my other example. If I can find it. Oh, I see. It's because I haven't used that particular stamp yet. So I'm going to show you how to attach the cling label to your stamp. So we're going to go here and peel those backing strips off of our label. Peel the backing off of the stamp itself. And then carefully lay that on the label. And there we go, all set to go. And I'm going to use my larger block again. And one thing I'm going to do this time, I'm going to use my grid paper to help me get my stamp straight. So I'm going to line that up straight on there. And then I'm going to line my block up straight with the grid paper. Ink that up. And this is a brand new, really juicy pad, so I need to be careful not to make a mess here. And I'm going to stamp that toward the left punched end. Okay, and we're done with our stamping, so we'll put our ink pad away. And now we'll just layer everything together. And you can use either liquid adhesive or your Stampin' Seal dry adhesive, whichever you prefer. Either one will work with this project. So I'm gonna lay some Stampin' Seal down there and layer my tags. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the excess off the end here. Like I said, I purposely made that longer so you could use whichever greeting you prefer. And we'll start from the bottom up here. Let's take our Blackberry Bliss card base and our Granny Apple Green layer, and we'll add some adhesive to that and position that on the front here. And kind of eyeball it and try to get it straight there. Press that down. Add some adhesive on the back of our stamped layer. And this one, a little trickier to get that straight because it's such a narrow border, but that on there. And now we're going to put a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. Raise that up a little bit. And now we're going to place that over all those stems, and I want to make it so that it comes to the edge of that Granny Apple Green layer. And then I'm going to get out my rhinestones here, if I can get them out of the baggie. And then I'm going to use the end of my scissors there to help me pick that up. And I'm going to place a rhinestone in the center of each of those 3 flowers. Okay, and then we have the layer that goes on the inside. Now if you want to, you could certainly add some stamping on that. In fact, I think I will. I'll open this back up. And I'll put some flowers on the bottom corner here. And I'm not going to re-ink my stamp. I'm going to re-stamp it without re-inking. And you get the 3 different tones of blackberry ink. And then adhesive on that. And then on the inside of your card. And then you could also add some stamping on your envelope if you like. I'm not going to do that right now, but you could certainly add some flowers and leaves on the corner on the front or across the flap, whatever you prefer. But that is our card with the lovely You stamp set and the label punched with the lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. If you are joining me for World Card Making Day, you can click the files link at the top of the page to get the PDF instructions. Or if you're seeing this at a later date on YouTube, you can visit my webpage, greetingsandmemories.com, and find all the measurements and written instructions there. And if you are interested in purchasing any of these products or any Stampin' Up! Products, you can shop my site, cindylyon.stampinup.net. And thank you for joining me.